Today, Arsenal is taking on Newcastle, and there is no team in the Premier League that has collected 43 points in 16 games and it has failed to win the Premier League. And that is where Arsenal is. 16 games played and they've gone ahead to collect 43 points, meaning that they are up there to go on and really win the league of the Premier League. Welcome to Rokani Media Football. How are you guys? And where you're watching us from, smash the like button, comment and share. And if at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel. And guys, congratulations and continue subscribing. We hit 9,000 subscribers yesterday. Now I really want to see you float into the lower right bottom corner and smash the black button and hit the subscription button, and then hit the notification bell that whenever you get notified every time I upload a video onto this channel. Now, today Arsenal is taking on Newcastle. You know, it's really a very huge game that is going to be happening down at the Emirates. Arsenal is hosting Newcastle. Obviously, it's going to be a huge game. Last season, Arsenal won Newcastle by 3-1 at home. I remember that is the game that introduced Martinelli officially in the starting 11, all in the starting 11, all in the mind of Mikel Arteta at Emirates. Remember, in that game, Bukayo Saka got off injured and Martinelli came in through. He played off the right, attacking southern midfield, and the game that was 2-1 was eventually 3-1 when Martinelli capitalized on that effort of Tomiyasu when he chipped a ball into the 18 yards box area of Newcastle, and he really dinked it over the goalkeeper in a very good fashionable style, and Martinelli really never sat back ever since then. Now he's really one of those players that Mikel Arteta really trusts. Let's talk about, before we get into the predicted starting 11 of Arsenal, let's talk about the unavailable players at Arsenal. I believe it's Gabriel Jesus who is really unavailable, but the rest of the players are really available. And the other player that is unavailable is Reiss Nelson, who really got a hamstring and he's really out, and we don't know when he's going to return because even the manager has not told us when he's returning. But Gabriel Jesus is really trying to recover to come back and really play a very huge role into that Arsenal starting 11. Now, Emile Smith-Rowe has been spotted in the training sessions of Arsenal the entire week ever since I think 28th. Ever since Arsenal beat West Ham by 3-1, Emile Smith-Rowe has been in a group training. Remember, in Dubai, he was really training individually, but right now he's training with the team, and he might make it to the bench of Arsenal, and his return has been confirmed by Mikel Arteta today when he was really doing a press conference of this game against Newcastle. So all of the players are really physically fit. No one is injured apart from Gabriel Jesus and Reiss Nelson. That is what is happening at Arsenal. For Newcastle, they still have a long line of players that are really injured. Alexander Isak, you know him very well. Arsenal wanted to sign this player way back in the January transfer window of 2022, and he didn't come in through even in the summer of 2021. They wanted to sign him, but the deal failed, and obviously Alexander Isak crossed to Newcastle. Njonjo Shelvey is also out. He has been really a decent disciple and servant for the Newcastle team for a very long time, but he's injured. But they won't miss him a lot because they're having Joe Wellington and Bruno Guimarães to come in and really get the job done. Then Matt Targett, the left back they signed from Aston Villa, is also injured. They are not expected to be part of this game of football at Emirates. Emil Cruyff is also out, and Paul Dummett is also unavailable for the top of the table clash between Arsenal and Newcastle. But the manager is tempted to have a couple of changes, maybe in his team. Chris Wood, I think he's going to lose his nod to Callum Wilson, who's going to go ahead and replace him in that game they played against Newcastle. Was playing which team? Newcastle drew with... Did they draw with Leicester? Newcastle. Let me see. Newcastle, what was your last game you played that you drew 0-0? Newcastle drew 0-0 with Leeds. With Leeds. They drew 0-0 with Leeds, and here is where they are into the competition. And they are how many points behind Arsenal? They are 11 points behind Arsenal. If Arsenal beats them tomorrow or today, they are going to be 14 points behind Arsenal. And remember, they've played one more game than Arsenal, and if at all Arsenal capitalizes on that game, I think it's against, is it Everton? I think it's against Everton, if I'm not mistaken. It's against Man City. If Arsenal win that game, they'll be at 17 points, and that means it's going to be hard for Newcastle to catch up at a club called Arsenal. So let's get into the teams of Arsenal. Let me first bring you the team of Newcastle and how we expect them to start against Arsenal. We expect the following players to start for a team called Newcastle. Pope in goal, Trippier as a right back, Shah and Botman, they are going to play into the central defense. Ban, left back, Longstaff, Bruno Guimarães and Joelinton playing the midfield three. Obviously, Almlon, Wilson and St. Maximan leading the line for Newcastle. And it's going to be a very huge boost for Newcastle for St. Maximan coming in through, because very many games he has been away, but they have managed to go on and really collect very many points. Newcastle is unbeaten in close to 12 games. So they have draws and wins. So let's wait and see what's going to happen. Their previous game, they drew 0-0 with Leeds, but they are traveling to a club called Arsenal, and Arsenal has shown us that they're really a killer side when it comes to playing clubs like Newcastle. Now, let's go into this predicted starting 11 of Arsenal, brought to you by the team of Rokani Media here onto the Rokani Media Football. The system, obviously, for Arsenal, it's a 4-3-3, no doubt about it. The manager has decided to go in for this system, unless otherwise he changes to a 4-2-3-1. But we expect him to come in with a 4-3-3 system, taking on a side called Newcastle. That is the pitch, and let's get into goal. Obviously, Matt Turner has not yet got enough nerves to stop Aaron Ramsdale from being the first choice goalkeeper of Arsenal. Reason being, Aaron Ramsdale is a proven goalkeeper, and he has gone ahead to do lots of things for Arsenal ever since he came in through. But, you know, Arsenal are so much reliant on this goalkeeper. He's good, one of the best young goalkeepers in the world, and Mikel Arteta spotted him, and this is a masterclass signing that has gone ahead to prove that they bought him close to £30 million. Right now, his value has gone ahead to appreciate to a level that I cannot even talk about, because he is really magnificent. Aaron Ramsdale, what a player he has been at Arsenal, and last season he kept close to 13-14 clean sheets. This time round, I know he's really going to keep more, because as we speak now, Arsenal has kept very many clean sheets. I think they've kept one clean sheet at home against Nottingham, but away they've gone ahead to keep close to 5 clean sheets, meaning that in just 16 games, Arsenal have kept 6 to 7 clean sheets this season in the Premier League. That is really so much good, and it's reliant onto the watertight central defense of Arsenal and the goalkeeper Ramsdale, because every time he's called for to go in and really save the club, he saves it in a nick of time. That is Aaron Ramsdale. And let's get into the right back. Right back, obviously, it's going to be in between Tomiyasu, who has returned, and Ben White. But you saw it when Ben White came in, when Ben White was taken off the field as Arsenal played Brighton, and that game was 3-0. You saw to it that holes were created and openings really started to show up to the side of Brighton, and they managed to put 2 goals past Arsenal. Even the third one had gone in, but VAR really just turned it down and said no, it's not a goal because it was an offside. So it shows you that it is Ben White to start, because Tomiyasu looks like he has not yet gotten back to the levels we know him all about. Ben White is going to play as a right defender or a right back for Arsenal. Left back, Zinchenko coming in through the needful for a team called Arsenal, and I believe he's going to get his... I'm sorry, that's supposed to be Zinchenko. It's not supposed to be Tomiyasu. I'm sorry about that. That is a very huge mistake, but it's going to be Zinchenko starting on the left back of a team called Arsenal, because Kientieni came in through and things never really looked good, and I believe that the manager, Mikel Arteta, is going to capitalize onto that. Let's go to the right back. It's going to... right side of the central defense, William Saliba is going to go in and start in for a club called Arsenal, and on the left side is going to be Gabriel Magalhaes. You know him very well. That is a watertight defense of a team called Arsenal. So let's go to the midfield three. Obviously, Thomas Partey is going to play into what we call the single pivot, and obviously Odegaard is going to play onto the right shoulder, and Xhaka is going to play onto the left shoulder of Thomas Partey in that game of football that's going to be played at the Emirates tomorrow, and tomorrow or today, depending on where you're watching us from. That is the midfield three of Arsenal. Odegaard, very much in form, and is really running that midfield. Thomas Partey, you saw him responsible for that block that resulted into the first goal of Arsenal that really came through in the second minute when they scored against Brighton away from home. Granit Xhaka, also much important for the club of Arsenal, doing some great stuff this season, very much humble, has not yet really gotten a red card this season. That is something great, and not even accumulated 5 yellow cards that call up for his suspension for a game that Arsenal is supposed to be playing. So it shows you that discipline in the midfield, Thomas Partey, Granit Xhaka and Odegaard really taking on the role to lead Arsenal to triumphant or victory. But talking about Martin Odegaard, he has scored 3 goals and created 3 assists in the previous 3 games of Arsenal. 2 goals against Wolverhampton Wanderers, 2 assists against West Ham, 1 assist against Brighton and 1 goal against Brighton. 6 goal involvements in 3 games. He's the most informed player at the Emirates right now, and that's why he's the captain. And we who know what he's all about, we're not even surprised. We are just worried of why he was really taking long enough to turn into a player that we expected him to be at the age of 24. Now let's go to the forwards. 3 forwards that Arsenal is going to play with. Bukayo Saka. He's not yet to that level that Saka can go in and skin on people, but it gives you a lot of hope and confidence that however much Bukayo Saka is not yet to his levels, but he's scoring in goals. Remember, in the game of West Ham, he scored a goal. Then he came in through and scored a goal against Brighton. So it shows you how good this guy is. And he scored a very fast goal in the game of West Ham, 2 minutes in. And in the game of Brighton, 2 minutes, he scored a goal. And in the game of West Ham, he managed to score a goal, but it was really cancelled out by VAR in the 4th minute. So it shows you that he is really positioning himself very well into that 18-yard box area of the opponents of Arsenal, and that's what makes him a very different player altogether for the club of Arsenal. That is Bukayo Saka having 6 goals in the Premier League and close to 5 assists, 6. I think has 12 goal involvements, and I believe with that rate at which he's scoring in, he can average 20 goals this season. Same applies to Odegaard and Martinelli. Those 3 players of Arsenal, I believe they can average 20 goals a season. And Jesus, even if he comes back, I know he's going to go on and really score in goals for Arsenal. He might average 20 goals a season in the Premier League this season. Let's talk about a man on fire known as Martinelli Gabriel, the Brazilian. This guy is really something else. He was almost responsible in every goal that they scored against Brighton. He scored a goal against West Ham that really gave Arsenal the lead. And obviously, he was even involved in a certain goal. Was it? All right. I think he got himself involved in 1 goal. But in the game of Brighton, first goal, it was his effort that deflected off a player of Brighton and it found Bukayo Saka unmarked. He controlled that ball very well with composure. He was ice cold and hit that ball into the back of the net. Then for the second one, I think he had no hand in that. He had no hand in that because it was a corner brought by Bukayo Saka, headed out. It finds Odegaard outside, near the 18 yards edge, the 18 yards box edge, and he hit it to the back of the net. Very nice shot taken by the captain of Arsenal. The third one, it was obviously who scored the third goal for Arsenal? The third goal for Arsenal was scored by Eddie Nketiah. All right, Martinelli hits it. The goalkeeper really fists it in the area or the vicinity of Nketiah, and Nketiah hit in the back of the net. That means he had a very good hand into that goal. And lastly, it was Odegaard that really released Martinelli, and Martinelli burst into space. You know him, he's electric, and he really put in a very sublime finish for a club known as Arsenal to make it 4 for Arsenal and 2 team known as Brighton. So that is Martinelli. I expect him to be having a very huge game in this game of football. Then leading the line is Eddie Nketiah, a man who's trying to fight his way out to make a statement and convince Mikel Arteta that even when Jesus is away, I can really hold Arsenal to the most high esteem that you people think I cannot hold. And that is a man known as Eddie Nketiah. 2 goals in 2 games have started for Arsenal, and remember, in every game that Eddie Nketiah has started at the Emirates, he has gone ahead to score a goal for Arsenal. In the last 11 games, Eddie Nketiah has scored a goal in every game they've scored. That means he has a tally of 11 goals for 11 starts. So I believe tomorrow he's also going to be on the score sheet because he's really on fire in form. Confidence has built in him a lot, having scored 2 goals in his previous 2 games. But this time around, he has been scoring the 3rd goal in the previous 2 games against West Ham and Brighton. I call upon him to go on and really score the opening goal to see to it that he goes ahead to open up the scoring tally for Arsenal in the game of Newcastle. So I believe it's going to be a very huge game, and Arsenal is going to go ahead and really win this game of football. But a disclaimer, I've gone ahead to really put in Tomiyasu at the left back. I'm sorry, it's supposed to be Zinchenko. So when it's rolling, don't think have really made a very huge mistake. But Zinchenko is starting on the left back of Arsenal, and that is my predicted starting 11 of Arsenal that's going to take on Newcastle. But when you look at Newcastle, they're having a front three that is really dynamic. Callum Wilson, for him, is a static number 9. He's a static number 9. So he won't give those people, he won't give the central defense of Arsenal, Gabriel Magalhaes and Saliba, a lot of trouble if at all the midfield really stop. If at all the midfield and the fullbacks of Arsenal stop Saint Maximin and Miguel Almiron, that's it. Even Bruno Guimarães in the midfield, I believe Thomas Partey is going to be having a hard day alongside Granit Xhaka and Martin Odegaard to win that midfield battle. And I believe who is winning this game? Whoever wins the midfield battle is going to win this game of football, because it's really going to be an intense fixture in that midfield. And it's really worrying that I will be watching the game of Manchester United. I don't know how I'm going to watch those two games, but I believe I'll put in the game of Arsenal here on my laptop and then watch the other one on TV, because I'll have to come in and really react to the result of Arsenal after seeing what they would have gone through to beat a side known as Newcastle. So that front three of Newcastle is really going to be dangerous. I think Arsenal are really going to meet one of the deadliest front threes in the Premier League, with Miguel Almiron going ahead to score. Is it Miguel Almiron? How many goals does he have? Miguel Almiron. Miguel. In the Premier League, he's really on fire. This guy is really rioting like no other in the Premier League. In the 17 matches has played, he has scored 9 goals and obviously made 1 assist. That is Miguel Almiron for you. Very much on fire. Saint Maximin comes in through, but I don't believe he has really gotten all picked back to where he got an injury from as far as his fitness is concerned in the match fitness. Ben White is really going to be having a very busy day, but the good thing is that he will be having the likes of Thomas Partey drifting back to help him. Saka is also good at really putting in the energy. So I believe Maxima versus Ben White is one of the battles we are going to go ahead and really watch. Then Miguel Almiron versus Zinchenko is another battle, but I believe Arsenal is going to deny them possession and they are going to win the midfield battle as far as this game is concerned. My prediction, obviously, it's Arsenal 3, Newcastle 1. That's my prediction. I believe Arsenal are going to beat every team that crosses the Emirates. The best team can go there. It will go on and really register a draw. It will go on and really register a draw in any fashion, but I don't see Arsenal losing a fixture at the Emirates. Now let's go a little bit into these stats that have been provided to us by BBC. Arsenal have won their past 11 home matches against Newcastle in all competitions, only against Stoke, an ongoing run since 1983 have they ever won more consecutive matches, 16. So Arsenal have really won 11 home games against Newcastle, and I believe this is going to give them a yardstick more to go ahead and really beat them thoroughly at Arsenal, as I predicted that Arsenal is going to beat them by 3-1. That's not going to be an easy fixture, but I know Arsenal are going to bypass it. Newcastle beat Arsenal 2-0 in their last Premier League meeting in May. Last winning consecutive league games against the Gunners between May 1994 and May 1996. So when Arsenal visited Newcastle in May, Arsenal was beaten by 2-0. I remember those games, they came in like a storm. It was like a tsunami. Spurs beat them. No, I think it was not Spurs. It was Southampton beating them away. Brighton beat them at home 2-1, and Newcastle sealed it. And those are the 3 games that really costed Arsenal the top 4. But if at all they had just won one of those 3 games, Arsenal would have found themselves into the top 4 positions of the Premier League. Arsenal have kept 28 clean sheets against Newcastle in the Premier League. Only Manchester United, 29 against Tottenham Hotspur, have recorded more against a specific opponent in the competition. It confirms to you that Arsenal really are far away from really are far ahead of Newcastle, and all stats are in their hands. Lastly, Newcastle manager Eddie Howe has lost 6 of his away Premier League matches against Arsenal, 5 defeats with Bournemouth, 1 with Newcastle by an aggregate of 16-2. One of the 2 goals his team scored came via current Magpies forward Callum Wilson in a 3-1 defeat with Bournemouth in November 2016. It shows you that Arsenal really have a very huge edge over a team called Newcastle. So let's wait and see how this game is going to unfold out. But I've given you my prediction, 3-1 or 3-0 for Arsenal. I believe it's going to be a very beautiful game to watch. Not as that of Brighton, because Newcastle might go in to play a low block and then hit Arsenal on the counter, because if at all they try to go toe-to-toe with Arsenal, they won't manage to go on and really stop it. So they might really play a deep line at the Emirates in respect for Arsenal, because they are the top leaders and have to give them the respect they deserve. But if they happen to go out and replay an open game, we'll enjoy. But I don't see Eddie Howe playing an open game against Arsenal. I see him playing what we call a deep line and hitting Arsenal on the break, using the pace of Callum Wilson, Saint Maximin, and a player called Miguel Almiron. But Bruno Guimarães and Thomas Partey is really going to be a midfield battle that we are going to watch out. Who wins it? Joe Willington versus Xhaka. Who is winning it? But I believe the masterclass Odegaard, the masterpiece of Odegaard, is going to decide this game again, because he's on fire and he's not going to stop. He's going to be like this until the end of the season. Talent doesn't lie, and he has hit his form that we expected him to be. Your reactions to the match reaction are welcome, to the match preview are welcome in the comment section below. Rokani David is my name. I would like to apologize, guys. Instead of putting there Zinchenko, I've put there Tomiyasu, but it's supposed to be Zinchenko on the left back for Arsenal. I sign out for now. See you later. May the mighty Lord bless you abundantly. But Liverpool have been beaten by Brentford 3-1, and if Arsenal win tomorrow, Arsenal is going to be 18 points clear from Liverpool, a team that had 92 points and lost the Premier League by 1 point from Man City. That's it. I'm out. Good night.